Before going to drama, please subscribe my channel. Thank you. In the beginning of drama, we see Kin and Seng are siblings. Their mother tells them that they are very poor, and now that their father is no longer alive, only one of them can go to university. She explains that she has saved just enough money to pay the tuition for one child. The mother says that whoever wins will go to university. Seng flips a bowl and wins. He happily says that now he will go and study. Kin is shocked and says this is unfair, that their mother deliberately let him win. Angry, she storms off. The mother, crying, tells Seng to go after Kin, but Seng says she'll come back on her own. The mother then goes to find Kin herself, but can't find her anywhere. She slaps Seng and blames him for everything. Seng tries to explain that he'll earn a lot of money in the future and take care of both of them. The mother, still crying, hugs him and apologizes to Kin in her heart. A few years later, the mother is still collecting garbage and wonders when her son will come to get her. Meanwhile, Kin is sitting in a car, thinking about how she has now become rich and is going back to get her mother. Just then, her secretary informs her that Seng is getting married to Min, a girl from one of the top families, the Jang family. Kin thinks that their mother will definitely attend the wedding, so she decides to go too. On the other hand, Seng calls his mother and tells her not to come to his wedding. The mother is surprised but says she must attend her son's wedding. On the wedding day, she arrives and calls out to Seng. Seng is shocked to see her and quickly takes her outside. He says she has embarrassed him by showing up looking like a beggar. Just then, Min arrives and angrily slaps the mother, asking who this woman is. Seng says, "She's my neighbor, Aunt Lu." The mother is heartbroken to hear this. Seng says she shouldn't have come looking like that. Min says she smells bad and should be thrown out, or else the wedding will be canceled. Seng tells his mother that she's making him feel ashamed. The mother asks, "Would you abandon your own mother just to get married?" Seng says Min will never accept her as her mother-in-law. The mother says, "I may be poor, but I am still her mother-in-law. If you're leaving me just to marry her, it's wrong." Seng says he's marrying a rich girl so that his life will be set, and she shouldn't have come. He adds that if Min finds out his mother collects garbage, she won't marry him. Mom, furious, says, "Fine, I'll leave. Today, you see your own mother as a burden. I'll go outside and die." Seng, trying to stop her, says, "Mom, why are you saying that? Don't you know Min is pregnant? You're going to have a grandchild." Hearing this, Mom gets happy and asks, "Really?" Seng says, "Yes, Mom. Why else would we be getting married so soon? And if they find out you're my mother, they'll call off the wedding. Then you won't even get to see your grandchild." Mom says, "Okay, I won't bother you. Just please let me stay at your wedding. I want to see you get married." Seng agrees but says, "You can't tell anyone that you're my mom. Just stay as Aunt Lu." Mom agrees and gives him some of her savings, but Seng looks at the money and says, "What am I supposed to do with such a small amount?" and angrily throws the money into the trash. Mom, heartbroken, thinks if Kin were here, she would never treat me like this. As Mom is picking the money out of the trash, Min sees her and asks Seng, "What is this woman still doing here?" Seng replies, "Let her be." Then, on the wedding stage, both mothers are invited up. Mom thinks maybe Seng is going to surprise her and starts walking toward the stage. But the host announces Min's mother's name, leaving Mom shocked. Min's mother comes on stage and says, "As a wedding gift for my son-in-law, I'm giving 1 million and a luxury car." Everyone calls Seng lucky. Seng and Min bow and thank her. Seng says, "My parents are no longer alive. You raised Min, and now you're giving to me too. From today, you are my mother." Mom's heart shatters hearing this. She thinks, if Min's mom is your mother now, then who am I? Min's mother hugs Seng, but Mom is devastated inside. Then Min's mom announces that from now on, Seng will take her last name. Mom cries out, "No, that can't happen." Min's mom asks, "Who are you?" Mom says, "I'm from Seng's family," but quickly corrects herself and says, "I'm his neighbor, Aunt Lu." Min's mom angrily says, "You're just a neighbor. How dare you interfere in our family matters?" Then she orders the guards throw her out. A crying mom pleads, "I don't mind leaving, but please, don't let Seng change his last name." Enraged, Min's mom slaps her and tells the guards, "Throw this beggar woman out." Mom begs, but the guards forcibly drag her outside. Min says, "Wait, check her first. I think she stole something." When the guards search Mom's bag, they find the money. Min says, "See, she stole money." Mom cries and says, "That's my money. I brought it for Seng." But Seng says, "Aunt Lu, you've embarrassed me. I didn't know you'd steal. Please leave." Min's mom says, "Throw her out immediately." As the guards throw Mom out, Kin arrives at the wedding in her car. The guards throw Mom out so forcefully that she gets hit by Kin's car. Kin is shocked and rushes to help her. Seeing Kin, Mom says, "Kin?" Kin replies, "Yes, Mom, it's me." But Mom faints. Kin quickly takes her to the hospital. Over there, the guards tell Min's mom that the old lady was hit by Miss Kin's car. Min's mom asks, "Where is Miss Kin?" The guard replies, "She took the old lady to the hospital." Min's mom angrily says, "Because of that old woman, Miss Kin couldn't attend our wedding party, and we were supposed to discuss a 200 million contract with her." Seng asks the guard, "Was Aunt Lu seriously hurt?" Min angrily says, "You're still worried about that woman?" Seng says, "I was just asking, what if she died? Then Miss Kin will never forgive us." Min says, "We lost our deal because of her. Call Miss Kin right now and ask her to come back to the wedding." Meanwhile, at the hospital, Kin is by her mom's side and tearfully says, "Please get well soon." Mom says her name and cries, "You came to me." Kin says, "Mom, I'll never leave you again." Mom apologizes, but Kin hugs her tightly. Then she asks, "Why did the guards throw you out?" Mom says, "It's not Seng's fault. Maybe the guards just didn't recognize me." Kin, angry, says, "If Seng did this, I won't spare him." But Mom insists it really wasn't his fault. "I'm okay, just take me away from here." Kin says, "From now on, you'll stay with me and you'll never have to suffer again." Then she brings Mom to her house. Mom is shocked to see how grand the house is. All the maids welcome her warmly. Kin introduces her to her husband, who introduces himself as Fu and kneels down to greet Mom. Mom quickly says, "That's not necessary." Kin and Fu both apologize for not telling her about their wedding. They had married abroad. Mom says, "You both are so successful, and I'm just a poor woman. I don't deserve you." But Fu says, "You're not poor. You're my mom too." Kin says, "From now on, you'll live here, and I'll tell everyone that you're my mother." Mom agrees. Kin happily says, "I'll cook for you with my own hands." But Mom says, "There's no need. You both just rest." Fu says, "Mom, we'll go make something together." Mom thinks about how kind her daughter and son-in-law are. Just then, two maids are talking and say, "This lady came to meet her daughter, but she didn't even bring a gift for her son-in-law." Hearing this, Mom thinks I had money, but it was taken from me. I should give something to my son-in-law. After all, Seng only rejected me because I was poor. Later, when Kin comes back, Mom is missing. Kin asks a maid, "Where is my mom?" The maid says, "She went outside." Kin panics and asks, "Did you do something to upset her?" The maid, scared, says, "No, ma'am. We would never dare." Just then, Kin receives a call. Min's mom says, "Miss Kin, we're calling because you didn't attend the wedding." Then she passes the phone to Seng. He says, "Miss Kin, it's me, your classmate Seng. When you were arriving, an old woman got hit by your car. Is she okay now?" Kin asks, "Did you throw her out?" Seng replies, "Yes, she was a crazy woman causing trouble at the wedding. So we had to throw her out." Kin thinks angrily, saying, "How can you be so heartless?" Then Seng says, "You mentioned a 200 million deal. If you're not coming, can we come meet you instead?" Kin furiously says, "The woman you're calling crazy." Seng says, "That woman Lu is my neighbor, but she came to my wedding and was stealing, so we had to throw her out." Kin says, "I see." Seng asks, "So, can we now sign the 200 million contract?" Kin replies, "All right, wait for me at Cloud Place." Seng happily agrees and goes to tell Min and her mom that Miss Kin said yes. Everyone gets excited. Meanwhile, Kin is fuming. As Seng and Min are leaving, Aunt Lu approaches them and says to Seng, "Give me back my money. I want to buy a gift for my son-in-law." Min says, "How are these your money? You stole them from the wedding." Just then, Min's mom arrives and says, "How did this beggar come back here again?" Mom says, "I'll take my money and leave." Seng says, "Aunt Lu, it's just a small amount of money." Mom replies, "Maybe for you, but for me, it's the hard-earned savings of my life." Min's mom says, "Because of you, our 200 million deal got delayed. Now you'll have to pay for it." Mom, crying, says, "I don't have that kind of money." Min says, "You have a daughter, right? Go ask her for it." Mom pleads, "Please don't drag my daughter into this." Min, enraged, slaps her and calls the guards, who begin beating her. Seng tries to stop them, but Min says, "Let her learn a lesson." Min's mom also says, "This beggar will come asking for money every day." Seng pulls out some cash. Min's mom takes it and says, "If you want it, kneel down and apologize 3 times. Mom says, "Aren't you ashamed to ask an elderly woman to kneel?" But Min's mom says, "Apologize quickly or I'll burn the money." Helpless, Mom kneels and apologizes 3 times, saying, "I break all ties with you all from this day forward and will never bother you again." Seng throws the money at her and says angrily, "Take this and leave. I never want to see you again." Mom, taking the money, says, "Today you died for me. With the pain you've given me, you'll never be truly happy." Min's mom kicks her and says, "How dare you try to give my son-in-law a gift?" Mom, crying, walks away and gets hit by a car. Later, she returns to Kin's house with the money. Kin sees the wound on her forehead and panics, asking, "Who did this to you?" Mom says, "I'm fine." Fu asks, "Mom, where did you go?" Mom takes out the money and says, "I want to buy a gift for you." Fu gets emotional seeing the money and asks, "How did you get hurt? Who did this? I won't spare them." But Mom says, "No, don't do anything." Kin, crying, says, "Please tell me the truth. Did Seng hurt you?" Mom says, "No, it wasn't his fault. I just fell on my own." But Kin says, "Please don't lie to me." Fu, crying in anger, says, "Tell the truth. I won't let Min's family go unpunished." But Mom says, "All right, let's go now." Kin replies, "No, you have to tell the truth." Mom thinks that Min's family is very powerful and she doesn't want Fu to take revenge on them, fearing they will trouble him too. Kin says, "Please tell me." But Mom, crying, says, "Don't ask me," and sits down. Fu says, if Mom doesn't want to say, then let it go, and tells Kin to bandage her head. Then they take her to the maid. Kin, still angry, says she won't let go of Min's family. At that moment, they arrive to meet Kin, and Kin brings her mom along. Mom asks, "Why did you bring me here?" Kin says, "I want to introduce you to someone." Mom happily says, "I'll thank them." But just then, Min and Seng arrive. Mom sees Seng and says, "Let's leave here. I don't want to see him." Kin says, "I needed to meet Seng. It's good he's here." Mom says, "You don't know, he married into the Min family. They're very rich and powerful." Fu says, "Since when has the Min family become more powerful than us?" Just then, Seng notices them and tells Min, "Let's take another route." Min asks, "Why?" and then looks at Mom and says, "Are you saying this because of Aunt Lu?" Seng says, "Forget it. We came here to sign the contract." Min says, "Why should we leave?" Then she tells Mom, "You're following us. Leave now." Kin, in anger, slaps her and says, "How dare you speak to my mom like that?" Min starts crying and calls Seng, saying, "She hit me." Seng angrily says to Kin, "Apologize. She's my wife." Kin replies, "How dare you ask me to apologize?" Don't you know, this is your mom too? Min says, she's just a neighbor. Seng says, yes, she's Aunt Lu. At that moment, Kin slaps Seng as well. Seng, in anger, starts hitting her, but Fu intervenes, hits Seng, and teaches him a lesson. Min tries to control her husband. Fu says, if you ever lay a hand on my wife or mom again, the consequences won't be good. Min says, she's Aunt Lu. Kin says, are you that stupid? She's both our mom. Min is shocked. Kin says, now my mom has no ties with either of you. If you bother her again, it will not end well. Min says, good. I don't want a beggar as my mother-in-law. Fu angrily says, your husband is also the son of a beggar. Seng says, yes, I was poor and everyone looked down on me. That's why I want to be rich now. Kin says, aren't you ashamed? Mom worked hard to educate us, and you all have forgotten that. Seng says, yes, I want to be rich. What's wrong with that? Kin asks, so how rich do you want to be? Seng replies, you're poor yourself and you're asking me? I'm now the son-in-law of the richest family in Zhongshan, and my classmate, Miss Kin, is also rich. She's getting me a contract with the Fu Group, worth of 200 million. Kin asks, don't you feel any shame? You're not even worth 200 million. Min angrily says, are you questioning our worth? We are from the Min family, and we have a good relationship with the Fu Group. What do you have? You're just poor. Seng replies, there's no point in explaining to them. You should leave and don't interfere with our contract again, or the consequences won't be good. Hearing this, Kin's mom sadly says, let's go, son. I never had a son. Kin replies, don't worry, we're not going anywhere. Mom says, I don't want you all to fight. Fu says, don't worry, I'll make them apologize to you. Seng laughs and says, do you really think we'll apologize? He then calls the guards and says, I have a golden card. Get these 3 out of here. Mom says, there's no need for that. We'll leave ourselves. Just then, Fu says, I have a golden card too. Min, surprised, says, how can this be? Only our family has a golden card in Zhongshan. This must be a fake card. Fu says, I have plenty of these cards, check for yourself. The guards check the card and confirm that it's real. Min thinks, if he has a real golden card, then he must be from the Fu family. Seng says, so, what if I have a golden card? The club manager is Min's uncle. He'll throw you all out. Mom says, let's leave. Fu replies, no, Mom, they'll have to pay for insulting you. Min calls her uncle and says, some people are threatening us. Please come quickly. Her uncle, the club manager, arrives immediately. Min shows him Fu's card and says, how can this be a golden card? The manager says, this card only belongs to the Min family and orders them to be thrown out. But as soon as Fu looks at him angrily, the manager gets scared and immediately starts apologizing. Min, surprised, says, are you Mr. Fu? Fu replies, yes, I am the owner of the club. Seng says, so that's why Kin is acting so arrogant today. It looks like she has ties with the Fu family. Min says, our family isn't any less. We have Miss Fong, the president of the Fong Group, who is my husband's classmate. Kin replies, but I don't think she would associate with people like you. Seng angrily says, don't say too much. You also married Mr. Fu to take a shortcut to becoming rich. I will also become rich by signing a contract with Miss Fong. Kin replies, Miss Fong has changed her mind. She won't sign a contract with you anymore. Seng says, you're lying. She herself called me. If you think I'm joking, let's make a bet. Kin, laughing, says, all right. Seng says, if I sign a contract with Miss Fong, you will divorce Mr. Fu and apologize to me by kneeling down, and you will take your mom out of here. Kin replies, all right, I'm ready. Mom refuses to make the bet, but Fu says, Mom, don't worry, I trust Kin. Then Kin says to Seng, if I win, you will also divorce your wife and go back to your old house. Seng replies, "Fine, we'll see." Seng calls Miss Phone, but Kin tells him that she is Miss Phone. Seng is shocked and says, "How can this be?" Kin replies, "I earned all of this with my hard work. You got everything without working for it." Seng, angry, says, "You've deceived me." Fu tells Seng to apologize and then tells Min to make Seng apologize as well. Seng slaps himself and apologizes. Kin angrily asks, "How did you get hurt?" Seng says, "I fell by myself." Min also says, "We didn't hurt her." Kin angrily replies, "I'm not asking you." Then, Seng tells his mother to confirm that she fell on her own. His mother, pleading, says, "Yes, I fell by myself." Kin then asks Seng if he wants to keep the Su family surname or the Min family surname. Min immediately says that if they get the 200 million contract, they won't change their surname. Seng requests his mother to give him the 200 million contract, but he wants to keep the Min family surname. His mother says that Seng is no longer her son, and she leaves him. Kin and her mother return to their old house, where Kin tells her mother that she can stay with her. Her mother says that she has memories of her father here and doesn't want to leave. Kin, angrily, says that if her mother can't stay with her, why can she stay with Seng? Her mother says that Seng is no longer her son. Fu tells her mother that when their child is born, it will have the Su family surname. Her mother looks at Fu lovingly and says that she will stay with him. Fu says that he will stay with them now, and her mother agrees. Kin tells Fu, "How do you understand my mother so well?" Fu replies, "Now you go to your mother, I'll bring food." Her mother is surprised when she sees the food and says that she can't eat so much. Kin says, "The doctor said you should eat well." Fu says, "If there's too much food, I'll throw it away." But the mother says, "Don't throw the food away, I'll eat it." Then they give the mother the food. Fu says, "You don't have a brain, but I do." After eating, Kin washes her mother's feet. The mother says, "You take such good care of me, but I haven't been able to take care of you." Kin replies, "You don't need to think about all that. I earned all of this for you." She then tells everyone that her mother has taken care of her. The mother says, "You don't need to do all this." Fu jokingly says, "Now that you're back in our city, we'll help with garbage collection too." The mother, worried, says, "All right, I'll stop collecting garbage and stay with you all." Just then, a person comes and asks, "What's the price for this garbage?" Fu looks at the mother and says, 1 yuan. The mother is surprised because she had said 1 yuan for the whole bag. The person happily says, "Quickly take it." Min and Fu begin buying it. The mother thinks to herself, "I've done good deeds, and I have such a wonderful daughter and a good son-in-law." Drama ends here. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe my channel.